Hello, Zip City, and welcome to what is sadly the final installment of Commissioner Tom's Fireside Chats. It's been an honor to serve as your commissioner over the past year, and I hope to someday again have the pleasure of doing so. Four super important topics to talk about today. Obviously, I will give my nomination for the next commissioner of Zip City Fantasy Baseball. I will give my recommendations for the next location of the fantasy baseball draft. I will give you my Super Bowl pick. Spoiler, it is either a bird of prey or a cherished national symbol. And finally, and I'm actually going to start with this, I'm going to give my ranking of top 5 Super Bowl snacks. All right, so Super Bowl snacks, this is how I did the rating. I'm thinking in terms of ease of preparation, deliciousness, and connection to sporting events. There's some snacks out there that are some snacks are just they can be associated kind of with anything. But so we're looking for things that are sort of iconic when eating with while watching sports. So number 5. I'm predicting that this is going to be the one that gets me in the most trouble. I actually put hummus at 5. The reason it doesn't go higher is because it's a little bit too healthy, I think. But ease of preparation, very simple, unless you're going to make it yourself, which is a mistake to begin with. But delicious, can be paired with lots of things. So hummus at 5. Number 4 is sliders, a little bit more complex to make, but a lot of variety there. You can go pulled pork, you can go burgers, you can go really anything. So I got sliders at 4. And I think that those, you're starting to get into territory where, like, you don't eat sliders that often. A lot of times, for me anyway, when I eat them, I'm watching sports. So hummus at 5, sliders at 4. Number 3, wings. Wings, very iconic in terms of eating while watching sports. Wings, also very delicious. But if you're going to make wings, a little more labor intensive, right? You could buy wings and then problem solved. But if you're going to make it, there you go. Number 2 is beer. Beer would be very labor intensive to make yourself, unless you're Joe. But for the rest of us, you just go buy the beer, and it's pretty awesome. You can have beer while doing things other than sports, but if you're watching sports, I think it's important to have beer. Some would argue that this doesn't belong on the list because it's not a food. Maybe that's why it's not number 1, but I felt like it belonged. I thought that was important. And number 1, also might catch flack for this. It's a little bit vague. I went chips and dip at 1. But Tom, you say, chips and dip, that's so vague. What does that mean? That's what's great about it. That is actually the beauty of chips and dip, is you get like a bunch of tortilla chips and you just surround it with like salsa, guac, French onion dip, whatever. It could be anything. That's what's great about chips and dip. And you can just eat that like all game. Like if you try to eat wings all game, you're not going to feel great. If you try to eat sliders all game, you're going to be full. Chips and dip, you can just sit there and pound that from kickoff to the end of the game. Chips and dip, simple prep, delicious. It's great. Chips and dip at 1, for sure. All right. Let me know what you think of that list. Your list is wrong, unless it's the same as my list, but you can go ahead and give me your take on that. Nominations for location of the draft. I think this is an important issue that we deal with every year. I want to restate my support for going to Atlantic City. I think that it's like a little bit gross. It's a little bit of like an underdog kind of choice, but I think that that's what Chicken Zips, Deli C, and really Zip City in general is like about. I think it's very iconic and symbolic in many ways for us. Would also state support for Philly. I think Philadelphia is a great place to do it. And perhaps my top choice would be Saratoga Springs. Not because I live 45 minutes away. That is only happy coincidence. But if you look at wonderful small American cities, Saratoga Springs is really one of the best there is. Um, Lots of great bars, lots of great restaurants, lots of places to get good Wi-Fi where we can do the draft. So Saratoga Springs would be my top choice. And I think that everyone should give that careful consideration. Just because you don't live that close doesn't make it a bad choice, right? Don't be selfish. I mentioned earlier I was going to give my Super Bowl pick. Was it the Bird of Prey or the American Icon? Trick question. It's both. In a surprise turn of events, Eagles by 20. Go Philly. Finally, Commissioner of Zip City. This I consider one of my most important duties in carrying on the traditions that we hold so dear. I think there's one individual that does a great job in his enthusiasm, his participation, his competitive spirit, his questionable drafting practices, and that is none other than the one and only Joe Ronaldo. Joe, I hope you're ready to step up to this challenge. I think you'll do a passable job. If nothing else, I hope you carry on the fireside chats. And Carol told me I was going to need a sign-off. I didn't actually think of one, so she's going to make fun of me when I'm done recording this video. So, that's all.